From Wonderland Elementary, this is Art News with Edna Egelhofer.
Good evening and welcome to Art News, the only hard-hitting news network that has interviews with today's most famous contemporary artists. I'm your host, Edna Egelhofer. Today we will be interviewing Korean artist Do Ho Suh. Now, Do Ho Suh is a Korean sculptor and installation artist who lives in Korea, London, and New York City. What a jet setter. Most of his work explores memories and how they relate to the concept of home. Mr. Suh, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself and tell us what you are working on now.
I'm Do Ho Suh. I'm a sculptor originally from Seoul, Korea. I live and work in New York and London. I'm in the middle of installing Staircase 3 at the Tate Modern.
Can you describe your Staircase 3 project that you are installing?
It's a one-to-one scale fabric version of the very small, narrow staircase that connects from my apartment to my landlord place.
What inspired you to create a fabric version of your staircase?
I've been interested in so-called transitional spaces. Staircase here, like this, and bridges or doors. It connects two different spaces, but at the same time it separates two spaces.
Why are you so interested in what you describe as transitional or in-between spaces? Spaces that take you from one location to another. What does this have to do with your personal experiences?
I think the reason that I've been interested in those spaces, it's got to do with my personal experience living, Korea and moved to US. The cultural displacement allowed me to see things differently. So I've been more interested in these transitional spaces rather than destination, because I truly believe that life is a passageway. I experience life moving through this different series of spaces.
Beautifully said. Life is a passageway. Now, can you tell us why you chose see-through fabric as your main material?
One of my desire was to carry my memory of these intimate spaces with me wherever I go. So that's how I started to think about the transportable piece. And the choice of fabric for the material of the piece came very naturally. You can fold and pack in your suitcase and carry with you. And I literally did it when I first made my first fabric architecture piece. So it's about the movability and transportability. My work is very transparent. So you can actually see the enveloping space through my piece. So actually that helped audience or visitors to see the gallery space in a different way.
Now, you recently created not a fabric sculpture, but a paper sculpture of your New York City apartment that you just moved out of. Can you describe why this apartment was so special to you?
I never lived anywhere else in New York City. This is the first and the last place. It was my living space and studio for 18 years. My artistic career started from here.
Wow, 18 years? That's such a long time. I can imagine how this being your first apartment and studio space in New York would make it very special. Can you describe your process of making your memory of this place stronger by creating an artwork out of it?
The whole process is to remember the space and also somehow memorialize the space. Whoever is going to buy this place, is going to renovate this space, and everything is going to go. It is quite a meaningful place for the family and also for me. I've been moving around since I left Korea. I'm living in London now. It's a constant recalibration. I try to understand my life as a movement through different spaces. After this project is done and peeled away from the space, I'll probably pack it and show it somewhere in the future. It's a bit difficult to take it off from the objects, but once you do that carefully, it still contains the shape of the object.
Amazing! I cannot wait to see this new project of yours in real life. In fact, many of you can. Do Ho Suh is currently exhibiting his work at LACMA here in Los Angeles. The show is entitled 348 West 22nd Street, named after the New York City apartment, but it's ending this month. So all of you there in TV land, take advantage and see it this month. Well, friends, that's all the time that we have. I hope you enjoyed our segment of our show. I want to thank Mr. Suh coming on our show today, and I'll see you next time.
This has been another rendition of Art News with Edna Egelhofer. Good night.